Hello and welcome to Medical Dialogues Show. I am Dr. Nandita Mohan, and today we mark 13th of September as the World Sepsis Day every year. Now, we all know that sepsis is the common final pathway of all acute infections. It arises when the body's response to an infection injures its own tissues and organs. Now, it may even lead to shock, multiple organ failure, and even death, especially if it is not recognized early and treated promptly. Now, to talk to us today on this day, we have with us today Dr. Prachi Sate, who is the Director of the Department of Critical Care Medicine at Ruby Hall Clinic, Pune. Now, Dr. Prachi underwent her training in UK at Birmingham and Sheffield in the area of critical care medicine on a scholarship by Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh, for overseas students. After returning from the UK, she started multidisciplinary ICU at Ruby Hall Clinic, which is the first of its kind in Pune. Now, this ICU, which started as a 4-bed unit, is now a 125-bedded unit treating about thousands of critically ill patients per year. Now, she is also the founder member of the Intensive Care Society of India, recognized teacher for fellowships and diploma in critical care medicine. She has participated in several international clinical trials and research initiatives and also delivered several talks both at national and international conferences and workshops. So, welcome to Medical Dialogues, ma'am. It's really a pleasure to be having you on board here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nandita. And I think you have really chosen a very, very important topic that not only every doctor, but even every citizen should be aware of sepsis, as it is called. What we celebrate is the more and more knowledge which medical fraternity has started getting about what happens in the human body because of infection, response to infection, and ultimately the sepsis, right? And
Very true, ma'am.
slight
It's definitely
correction.
that is an awareness day that we are actually talking about here
That's
today.
right. That's right. That's right. So sepsis is really I would say it is a leading cause of death in the world all over. So it's like, more than 10 million people get affected every year world over, which the number proportionately would be higher in India because of our general hygienic conditions, hygiene awareness, and tropical infections, and the super added, diabetes like diseases which are affecting the immunity of our community. And 1 in 5 deaths, the cause is sepsis. So, is it not appropriate that all of us have to be aware of it? And for the same reason, multiple health organizations all over the world have come together to try and develop consensus. So, right at the beginning, 2001, there was the first sepsis consensus held. Now, sepsis, obviously, right from the start of humanity, the infections have been there. But there couldn't be comparison, there couldn't be research, there couldn't be, comparison of the therapies because everybody perceived sepsis differently. It is like that story of 8 blind men and an elephant. So everybody thought sepsis differently, the definition differently. And that is why the experts world over have started coming together. And now what we are at is called as sepsis 3 definition.
Okay,
So
great.
that is where we are, and that is what we need to discuss, and all the medical students also need to know about it.
Very well explained, ma'am. That is actually why we are here to discuss today. Now, if I may talk about a particular topic today, we're talking about how neonates and older adults, two extreme categories of individuals, they and their relation with sepsis. So, if I may ask, what makes these two people, that is neonates as well as the older age group, more susceptible to infections that can actually lead to sepsis compared to the other age groups?
Right. So before going towards that, let us understand the definition of sepsis. So it is basically inappropriate response or dysregulated immune response towards the infection. Whenever any kind of infectious agent, for example, it may be a virus, it may be a bacteria, or it may be a fungus or a parasite for that matter, enters the body or attacks the human body, there would be a response in the form of macrophage activation and developing various intermediate molecules like cytokines, and that will try to contain the infection to protect the existence of the human being or the body. But when that response is inappropriate, either low or high, then we land up in sepsis, what is called as sepsis, because when body triggers immune response in much higher proportion than what is required to contain the infection, that response itself, or those cytokines themselves, which are like double-edged weapon, will destroy our own body. So right at the beginning, there would be hyperdynamic response in the blood, in the body. So there would be peripheral vessel dilatation. Hmm? So increased cardiac output almost to the double of what is normally observed. There will be tachycardia, like increasing pulse rate, racing pulse rate, high respiratory rate, very high temperature, or very cold temperature as well in the extremes of infections. Hmm? So while talking about this, why is it higher, as you are saying, at the extremes of ages? Actually, I'm an adult intensivist and a physician. So I won't talk much about neonates, but in neonates, obviously the immune system is still immature and it is still developing. And that is the reason why they are far more susceptible to abnormal immune responses. But we should learn that from a neonatal intensivist when the time comes. But in the adults, now we are facing far more geriatric population in India because the life expectancy has increased. But as it is said, even though the life expectancy has increased, the healthy life expectancy hasn't increased. After 60 or 65, people are on so many drugs, so many supportive treatments for the underlying diseases, or as we call it as comorbidities. It is very unfortunate that India is getting, famous, that it is going to be the capital of diabetes. And diabetes by itself is also an uh, abnormal immune response, or the body doesn't give appropriate immune response, and they're much more susceptible to infections. Then there are so many other things that senility or the aging process itself will cause reduced or abnormal immune response. Thirdly, in our country, it is again infamously known all over the world as improper utilization of antibiotics. So, because of that, there are a lot of strains of bacteria which are called as multi-drug resistant bacteria, which are developing here. People start requiring hospitalizations for various things, and then the original disease gets cured, but these multi-drug resistant bacteria which are already harboring our body, they start becoming stronger and overtaking the normal bacterial flora. And that is another reason why in elderly people we start getting sepsis because of nosocomial infections, like for example nosocomial pneumonia or nosocomial bloodstream infections, etc. So, organ failures and organ transplants is also coming up big way in India. And these patients, they require lifelong immunosuppressants. So, these immunosuppressants themselves are causing them to become far more, susceptible to infections and sepsis. I think that answers the question which you have been asking.
Yes, very well explained, ma'am. That's how we need to understand the extreme age groups and what are the reasons that you actually equally charted out why they are more susceptible to infections that can actually lead to sepsis. Now, if I talk about only the older age group, so are there any common underlying conditions that predispose them to sepsis that they, as you mentioned, diabetes and hypertension, these are the most common encountered conditions that older age group above 60 years usually develop. So anything apart from this, are there any other underlying conditions?
See, it is very important that we take the vaccines to develop our own immunity. For example, in India, now typically during monsoon season, we are facing so many tropical infections like dengue, chikungunya, which is rampant. Zika has also started, and various types of pneumonias, including swine flu or bacterial pneumonias. People who have got COPDs or chronic lung disorders are more prone to develop respiratory infections. Diabetics are more prone to develop like diabetic foot conditions or pyelonephritis. Then there are quite a few medications like, for example, SGLT2 inhibitors, which are anti-diabetic treatment, but they can make people susceptible to develop urinary infections more. So various conditions like this, I'm just giving you examples, may predispose people to, and in elderly age group, one more thing is that prostatism in the males, which causes retained urine in the bladder post voiding, which itself starts acting as a culture for bacterial growth. So these are some of the examples which we can talk about.
Okay, great. Well listed, ma'am. Now, if I talk about this in a little bit more detail, what are the high risk patient groups for developing sepsis?
So I think we already covered that. High risk groups include elderly age group,
Mm-hmm.
people who have comorbidities like diabetes or connective tissue disorders, people who have got heart failure for various reasons, heart diseases and heart failure, where the circulatory status is not optimum, where prostatism, as I told you, and patients who are on multiple drugs for various reasons again. So, examples again, I have already given. And very high risk in India is that people just walk into the chemist shop, describe their symptoms, and ask for a medicine. And the chemists are very happy delivering various antibiotics, like sweets. And people say, कि हाँ diarrhea के लिए दवा दे दो. And all this is actually adding up to our huge problem of multi-drug resistant bacteria. So all this gives us the high risk groups, which we can talk about. All these patients who are in high risk category, we definitely recommend adult immunizations, which can protect them from developing these infections. Like children, WHO has recommended, or we have got Indian protocols for giving various vaccines. For adults also, WHO has recommended various vaccines which can help us prevent ourselves from such infections which can become life threatening. So, for example, flu vaccine, which is recommended to be taken every year. We also can take meningococcal vaccine, we can take pneumonia vaccine, pneumococcal vaccine, for example. These days, we also have available herpes zoster vaccine. So all these can protect these high risk age group or high risk groups of patients from developing life threatening infections.
Okay. Dr. Prachi, lastly, if I may ask, is there a connection between cognitive decline or dementia, as we talk about in older adults, and also their higher risk of developing sepsis? Is there any link between the two?
Well, I think in this situation, they become more dependent, or they become, less capable of caring for themselves. And that itself can predispose, like maintaining the personal hygiene again, or eating habits, or cleanliness. These are the things which can predispose to them. But other than that, I don't think there is any particular link between cognitive decline and the infections. But personal hygiene definitely matters. Or sometimes people are living in the communes, like old age homes or nursing homes or high dependency homes, and these are the sites where it is very easy for the infection to spread from one inmate to another inmate.
Very true, ma'am. Very true. Is there any message that you would want to give out to our viewers as we mark today as the World Sepsis Day?
Very high index of suspicion to pick up the patient very early in sepsis, because if somebody is developing dysregulated immune response to infection going into sepsis, there is a very very small window of opportunity during which, if we pick up the patient, if we identify that the patient is progressing towards involvement of multiple organs in the body, because sepsis ultimately affects every organ in the body. So if we pick them up early, if we start treating them according to the sepsis protocols, which have been developed as sepsis bundles in sepsis 3 guidelines, lab can tell us if the WBC count is high. But sometimes with severe sepsis, WBC count can be very low also, which is a grave sign of severe sepsis. So all these things have to be picked up very, very early, and we have to start it, the time is muscle for heart. Sorry. So if we pick up the myocardial infarction early and thrombolize, we can save the heart muscle. Same thing is about the stroke thrombolysis. Similarly, if we can pick up sepsis very, very early and start treating it early, then the chances of reversing it are pretty high. So all the medical students or practitioners or experts who are working in different fields or specialties have to have high index of suspicion for a patient who is developing signs of infection and is likely to progress towards sepsis. So, if we can do that, we can reduce the deaths because of sepsis. Also, we should be very, very meticulous and try and follow antibiotic stewardship to avoid MDR or multi drug resistant bacteria from developing. So, with that, I would also add take appropriate vaccines. And with all this, we can celebrate this Sepsis Awareness Day. Let us hope for the best for all the doctors as well as all our patients. Thank you.
Never miss a medical update from Medical Dialogues. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.